New on Curiosity Stream. She was a loving wife, a devoted mother. She also stole atomic secrets and gave them to the Soviets. Meet the woman whose deception kick-started the Cold War on the spy who stole the atom bomb. And
what if they catch you?
Then I shall be shot.
They're coming! Come back!
relive history's most death-defying escapes. It's Impossible Escapes, Civil War. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit curiositystream.com.
$20 million, $19 million, $6 million. These are all awards recovered for clients of Phillips Law Firm. To win big, you have to fight big. And Phillips Law has been fighting the too-big-to-fail insurance industry for decades. Not every case will have a multi-million-dollar outcome, but Phillips Law will fight just as hard to recover the outcome you deserve. If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or on the job, call or click today at 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.
What's up? It's your boy, The Ted Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
Somebody out there deserves to be recognized. And the Men's Room knows just who it is. So to you, we say, bottoms up, sailor. You're the toast of our shot of the day.
Drink time it is, and as usual, we head to the drink desk and Stephen Throwhill to find out who we're toasting.
Yes, indeed, and today we toast an unidentified man from McKinley, California. Any idea where McKinley is? I'm sorry, McKinleyville.
McKinleyville?
Yeah, they say it's 5 hours north of San Francisco, which means the middle of nowhere.
Is that basically Oregon?
Damn near. All right, so in this case, this particular man, now, he's been accused of, they have not proven, but he has been accused of hiring a hitman on Craigslist to kill a peacock. Now, it happened last month in McKinleyville, which is, again, a little bit north of San Francisco, but here's the deal. The peacock showed up in the neighborhood a while back. The community embraced it. They fed it sourdough bread and cookies, gave it nicknames like Mr. P and Azul, which is just Spanish for blue, I believe.
Must-see TV.
But one guy, he's not a fan. Why was he not a fan? Because of how loud the peacock was. So he put a hit out on Craigslist saying, quote, "The job is simple. Get rid of a wild peacock that is disrupting our lives." It should be noted again, he's the only person that has a problem with it. Anyway, he gave instructions on how to find Mr. P, and then he added, quote, "Please contact me so we can form a strategy to eliminate this bird and also agree on how much you'll be compensated." Well, last week, Mr. P was found dead with a gunshot wound to his lower breast. Now, the sheriff is investigating the case, but it's unclear if there's going to be any criminal charges. One, peacocks are not protected by the state's wildlife laws, although the shooter could face firearm and animal cruelty charges. But more than that, the community, they're pretty sure they know who posted the ad because he's that guy. But the guy they're accusing, that guy, says all they have against him, this is his quote, "circumstantial evidence." And he won't comment again until he talks to an attorney. So in other words, they found the right guy.
Right.
The whole community's cool, the stupid-ass bird. He lives in the middle of goddamn nowhere. This one dude takes a hit out of Craigslist and has Mr. P shot and killed.
Mr. P.
Mr. P.
Should have just called Pet Solutions.
There you go.
Yeah.
Damn. Maybe he did.
You don't know, Mike.
So we pour this booze and we drink this booze because we think it's yummy.
Yummy!
So over the tongue and down the throat to party in our tummies. Down the hola bichola.
The Men's Room presents Profile This.
And Stephen Throwhill, could you please start one? Now, Profile This is played.
I sure can, Miles. It's a simple game where we share with you a real-life news story, something that happened right here on planet Earth. Earth. And as you listen to the story, based on the stereotypes you believe to be true of people and the decisions that people make, we'll ask you what it is you think makes the story a story. Hello, Peyton. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hola, boys.
Hola. All right, Peyton, you understand how this here game is played?
I do.
Fantastic. Then you know you have your choice of one of three stories. We have the wonderful world of drugs. We have Bite Me. In other words, what did someone find in their food? And finally, interior decorating, where you guess the foreign objects that ended up on the inside of someone.
I'm going to let my buddy Mike pick.
Don't read into that too much. Mike went on a big Coke bender over the 4th of July.
Yeah.
All right, here's your story. We go to Blair County, Pennsylvania, where an Altoona woman is accused of having drugs stashed in her dentures and other parts of her body while staying in the Blair County prison. Now, police recovered the drugs from Crystal Horn after she was searched because her cellmate and she both appeared under the influence. Well, baggies and wax packets, they were found in the cell during the search. Now, during a strip search, Horn was ordered to remove her dentures from her mouth, where a folded piece of white paper was found. Contraband was also found in Horn's rectum and vagina. That's right, dentures, vagina, and rectum. Now, after inspecting the contraband, police identified it as numerous empty wax packets, a baggie with a white powder residue, small baggie of marijuana, a rib sandwich baggie, and a white wax packet of another drug. The marijuana and the other drug were confirmed in a field test kit. The question is, what was the other drug they found in her kit and caboodle? So these were not the drugs in the dentures. These were the drugs found south of her border. Crack, cocaine, heroin, or meth? Crack, cocaine.
I want to know what everyone else thinks, but I'm going to go crack in the crack.
I see what you did there. Keep it simple.
Okay.
I like her style, though, man. I mean, anywhere she can fit drugs, she fit them. And most of the drug paraphernalia they found, they'd already blown through most of the drugs.
I'm going to go heroin on this one.
I mean, I think just on cost alone, I'm going meth.
What do you mean cost?
Because meth is very cheap to use, but it lasts a long time. So if I'm in jail...
I see what you're saying.
Right.
Cost effectiveness.
Right, like cocaine would seem too expensive to try to snuggle into jail. Smuggle in.
You can say she snuggled it.
Crack is cheap, but that's a fast, degenerate high. Whereas this meth can keep you going for a few hours. Not working for the
So why
meth.
do you make it a sales pitch?
I know. Sorry.
Peyton, you're going to stick with crack as your final answer.
Yep, crack in the crack.
Okay, we're going to find out what you had there in the front and back side. Crack, cocaine, heroin, or meth next?
That was a tease.
New on Curiosity Stream, he allows them their riches
Putin has to be the richest of the rich.
in exchange for their loyalty.
The oligarchs have supported someone for president that they underestimate.
The illicit affair between Russia's elite and the man who rules them on Putin and the oligarchs. And World War II Normandy. An obscure battle training session takes a tragic turn. Uncover the one secret military catastrophe on the secret D-Day disaster. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit CuriosityStream.com.
Oh, drat. I was driving along minding my own business when that vulgar leech hit my Beamer with his pickup truck. I fear I've fractured my clavicle.
I say, old boy, don't simply put it in the hands of your insurance company to sort it out. Talk with the dedicated row of solicitors at the Advocates Law Firm.
Pipe down, you old sod. The advocates will see your case through to the bitter end and won't sleep a fortnight until they have victory in their grasp.
Jolly good, old man. Jolly good indeed. You get injured, the advocates get results. AdvocatesLaw.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
The men's room returns with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
Category is drugs on profiling. We got a Pennsylvania woman who had drugs hidden in her dentures and other parts of her body while she was in jail. Well, they suspected that she and her cellmate were on something, and she did have other drugs that were hidden in her backside and the front side. Those were different than the drugs that she had hidden in her dentures. So the question is, what did she have down there in the kit and the caboodle? Was it crack, cocaine, heroin, or meth?
And Peyton, that is the question that we asked you. And Peyton, you said crack, specifically crack in the crack. I'm sorry. It was not crack in her crack, even though it's right there in the name. Miles Montgomery, you went with old heroin. Oh, I'm sorry. No, not heroin. And Ted, you explained the virtues of meth. If you're going to get high, hey, man, doesn't cost a lot and stay high for hours. Well, she knew that.
There you go. Wow.
She's in prison.
Yeah. Now for all TV news all the time, it's time for TV Time with Ted.
And now, because your pathetic life is confined to countless hours in front of a talking box,
Armageddon.
The Men's Room presents TV Time with Ted.
All right. Obviously, we just had, over the weekend, we had a July 4th vacation and everything.
What?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. People were fired up. But what happens every July 4th, ESPN.
All right.
Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest. Most people, maybe you don't know, the Nathan's there in New York City. It is the premier food challenge event of the year.
I want to say there were a couple of locals that participated in that as well. I know one woman was involved in the competition. I don't know how they break that stuff down. And then
Well, I want to say that getting in that contest is almost like running a Boston Marathon. Like, I think you have to qualify through other foods.
Right, that's my understanding. So you can't, look, if you're a part of that contest, there's a good chance your name's going to be mentioned nationally. So to earn the right to be there, you got to put in the work.
And not only that, you can't have like a women's division one day or a weight division the next day, because like you can't go eat 76 hot dogs one day, then come back the next day and try to go for 77.
And
like,
also,
that's not how it works.
But the weight doesn't matter. Who was it? Tadayosha?
Yeah.
Wow. Who's the Japanese? Kobayashi. Dude looked like he weighed like 140 pounds and could put down food like nobody's business.
Yeah, now he's huge. Like ripped.
Oh, is he?
Have you seen him?
No.
Yeah. Like the last few times he actually competed in that one. He still competes.
Okay. Right.
He's just not in this official one because he has an argument with the guy that runs it.
Okay.
But you're right. For food competition, I don't think size matters at all, because there used to be the Black Widow. I want to say her name was Sonia Thomas.
I think you're right. Yeah, she was kind of tiny too, man.
She was tiny, and she dominated chicken wings. Nobody could else.
People do have different food specialties in that genre, too, as far as what they do better.
Yeah, for sure.
It is, Miles, we like to call that your discipline.
Yes, your discipline.
Well, my big issue is, like, first of all, I don't know that I could eat 76 hot dogs.
Not in one
but if you
setting,
gave me, like, all day to accomplish this, I feel like that's a little more doable. But he's eating 76 hot dogs in 10 minutes.
And not only that, but when you're the champion of something, you're up on the stage, you know, you've got your trophy or belt, whatever the hell it is, you're celebrating, it's over your head,
it's the mustard belt, Miles.
Down, man, and he looked absolutely like hell. He was just up there like, I'm going to throw up on this entire crowd. He had that look on his face.
You realize he eats like one hot dog in every 3/4 of a second.
Well, they're not even enjoying it, right? Because he used a technique that called chipmunking, where you want to wet the rolls, just kind of stuff them in your cheeks, and then like at a certain point, kind of like shake around and jump up and swallow it. But like, I have enough issue just swallowing a prescription pill.
Right?
Like, I ain't doing that.
Did you watch it this year?
Okay, so I did not watch the original version. Or the live version. I had gotten up to watch F1, then laid back down. By the time I got up, the replay was on, and the replay had the ending.
It did have the ending.
But if you watched it live on ESPN, honestly, you missed the ending, and you missed him announcing that he just set a new world record.
3, 2, 1,
wow. Listen to that crowd.
With 76 Nathan's hot dogs and bomb. A new world record.
Joey, you talked about the crowd and how you thought it might give you some momentum. How did they help you today?
Oh, it felt great. They were chanting, and I started slowing down that minute 6, and they kept pushing me. They didn't give up on me, and thank you. Yeah, I'm so happy.
And their feed cut out like 3 times, right at the end.
Right at the end. So if you watched it live, you didn't see him finish.
You didn't see or hear any of that. It was like,
really?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It was like the screen just scrambled, and then they try another shot, and then that screen would scramble. Now keep in mind, this is the end of this thing,
right?
I mean, it's coming down to the wire. This is why you've been watching the entire time with all the interviews, with everything else, and their feed cut out like right when the guys are crossing the finish line. It'd be the equivalent of watching the Super Bowl, and there's a last-second field goal, then the feed goes out, and you don't know who won, and then you come back on, and there's a team.
You know what they should do? And look, if you're an NFL football fan with any kind of history, you'll appreciate this. I feel like if your feed cuts out, just go to Heidi.
I was about to say, it's like the Heidi game.
Because that way people know we're having troubles. We're putting on the movie Heidi.
Yeah, that was kind of brutal. And I mean, look, like, Mike and I went to a Mariners game. There's always baseball games on. But, like, for July 4th, like, that's the event of the day.
That's the thing.
You know what I mean? Like, it was a Sunday, like F1, Wimbledon, all that stuff was on. But if you're in America, like, it's the Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest. Chestnut's going to be there.
It's always in the morning out here on the West Coast. So you kind of start your day that way.
I want to say they started at noon, right? At Surf and Stillwell, right? Which is like where the first Nathan's was. Like, it's steeped in tradition.
What happens when he retires? Who's the heir apparent? Right? Because he's
other guys
dominated
there,
for so long.
Remember, Kobayashi was so good, nobody thought anybody could beat him. Then Chestnut showed up. So I don't know. I'd have to go back and rewatch some of it and pick my new guy. But there's newer talent out there, and these things are happening all the time.
But it's not like It's not like Joey Chestnut's like, well, I'll stop running and doing that stuff, so now I'm not really in the best shape. No, they're eating hot dogs.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that you don't have to do certain things. I'm just saying, like, NFL running back, man, they got 5 years before you know it, they're retired. Hey, listen. This is not one of those jobs, man. This is one where you could just keep doing it if you can still just shove those things down your throat.
See, you sound like it's not that easy, though, man. Like, he's all about technique. He's been doing this for a while. He's the Tom Brady of eating.
He's the Tom Brady.
He is.
He is the greatest of all time.
Like, if he ever says, hey, I'm retiring, they'd be like, the main thing is we got to get him and Kobayashi back into the contest together.
It's also crazy that they don't use him as far as just kind of there's Nathan's restaurants all over the East Coast. There's the hot dog stands. They got the crinkle cut fries. You can buy Nathan's pack of hot dogs in your grocery store, but there's a lot of those chains that work their way probably to Chicago, right? So they go about that far west. But it's amazing they don't have that guy in a commercial for like Nathan's hot dogs.
I honest to God do not know how they don't.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're the guy.
Right, man.
When you think hot dogs and eating, you think Joey Chestnut. So.
Yeah, well, Joey Chestnut, too, I believe he's got his own YouTube channel and this and that. People pay money just to watch him eat.
Or, if not, like, Hebrew National, you sign him up. You're like, I'm Joey Chestnut. I got to eat these Nathan hot dogs. That's what they serve. But when I'm at home, I love a delicious Ballpark Frank or whatever, the competition.
Let's see. All right, another show I started this weekend. I started watching This Is Pop.
Mm-hmm.
So this one's on Netflix. I don't think anybody in here has seen it yet. So it goes through pop music, which I know a lot of people are like, I don't really like pop music, which is fine. But some of these stories are super interesting to begin with.
Is pop like back to the Jackson 5, Motown? Do they start in the 80s with the boy bands?
So it's actually the first episode starts with Boyz II Men.
Okay.
All right.
But you kind of, like, I almost forgot, like, they're such a big deal. But they are right there in between Jackson 5, New Edition.
They kind of bridge Motown to what we now call boy bands.
They and Bell
they were instrumental in that.
DeVoe,
without a doubt.
So Michael Bivins, right? He is in Bell Biv DeVoe. He had been in New Edition. He's from Philly. See, he hears about these guys. They're all going to school together. They start this group. So he goes to see, but he's not really sure what to do with them either. And then finally, the label he's working for is like, well, let's get him on and have him do something. So you're right. So that's why Motown Philly was their first song and this and that. And it was a little bit different sounding. But then as the albums start coming out, they just basically they get, I can't remember if it's End of the Road or one of them. One of those master ballads is Babyface. And Babyface had done this song, but it's kind of like, I think you guys could do it better. So then they get into that mode and it's like, they're not for nothing, but they're four like younger, tough dudes. Like they're not in love with doing these ballads, but it's so massive.
They get a lot of ass and a lot of money.
Right. But then before they kind of realize it, right? Because everybody's like, well, what happened to them? Like they never really went away. But you're right. Then you have the boy bands. Now you got Backstreet showing up. NSYNC showing up.
Was that the guy's name?
Around then too.
Right, but New Kids. It's not in that same age area.
Right. Okay.
You always want to put them in there, but I'm like, dude, that is 20 years before that. Right.
Okay.
So what I'm saying, like, that was New Edition, New Kids, that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
They're bridging that gap in between. But then, all those boy bands show up, and it's all five guys that sing. They're wearing the same clothes, the sweater vest, this and that. Mm-hmm. And they had, like, Nick Lachey on there, and he was like, oh, yeah. Like, we blatantly ripped off Boyz II Men.
Of course they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so that's like one of the episodes. There's
one thing I'll give credit to boy band. They're not going to lie and say they came up with some original thing. That has nothing to do with whether or not they're good or bad. But they go like, right, we're a boy band. This is what we do. It was established and the precedent was set. You'd be stupid. Who is it now? BTS, whatever the hell they are.
Yeah,
right.
K-pop.
So, right. Well, it's a Korean, right, but it's the same crap, right? Kind of dressed the same. And each one of you is a character, not unlike the Village People, right? You're the bad boy, you're the good boy, you're this guy, whatever.
But, I mean, they get into everything on this show. That was just the first one. Then they get into auto-tune, which, of course, T-Pain made super famous. But, like, everybody uses it. Everybody in the industry had been using it. Cher had used it. Nobody talked about it. T-Pain was the first one to just kind of be like, yeah, I'm not a real good singer, but I'm going to do this.
But he also turned up so like anything, when you have an effect, right, they have the dry feed, which is what you're actually playing or singing, and then the wet feed, which is the effect. So people like Cher and some of the other people, Britney Spears, J-Lo, a lot of people that don't have the best voices, and it's not a knock on them. They were good entertainers. you would push up the drive feed, pull back the effect feed, but it would, as the name says, keep your voice in tune, because they weren't singing in tune, hence auto-tune. All T-Pain did was like, I'm turned it up to 10, right? That way, I'm not, one thing I'll give him credit for, I'm not lying to you. This is obviously auto-tune. I sound like a robot, right? But you still dig my song. Cher and the rest of these kooks that are out there doing the crap, it's like, you're trying to convince people you still have this talent, Madonna and a bunch of other people. Like I said, you're a great entertainer, but you sing like ass, and that's okay. But you've been using this for decades. T-Pain literally, it's like a distorted guitar or clean guitar. He literally just turned it up and said, I can't sing. I'm just honest about it.
But either way, if you get a chance, check it out. It's a very cool series. And again, like there's a whole episode. Basically any pop song you hear nowadays, it's written by someone in Stockholm, Sweden.
I didn't know it was
they
Sweden.
write every pop song that's popular. I mean, I can't even name the list of stars. Ariana, like if it's a pop star or a popular music, like they probably wrote it. That's rappers too, but it's all Swedish. But they're Swedish, so they never talk about it. Seriously, it's like a big thing in Sweden. You can't, like, not only can you not brag, you can't even really talk about your success. So they're like, what's the secret? And they're like, oh, you're going to find out. We're Swedish. We don't really talk about that. You're going to have to ask somebody else. Like, I'm just happy I'm working. You're like, what? Like, I didn't realize Childish Gambino was a 2-guy act.
I did not know either.
The other guy's a Swedish producer.
Of course.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's wild. There's a whole thing on country going pop and how country people get all mad and we need to forgive some ladies.
Sounds really interesting. You like music.
Dude, if you like music, I'm telling you, they're 44 minutes. Like, I ripped through, like, obviously, like 4 or 5 of them yesterday and over the weekend. But yeah, great show, great series. Let's see. If you want some sports on tonight, you have Game 1, the NBA Finals.
Yes. Thank you, Ted. We appreciate it. You are listening to The Men's Room.
New on Curiosity Stream, he allows them their riches
Putin has to be the richest of the rich.
in exchange for their loyalty.
The oligarchs have supported someone for president that they underestimated.
The illicit affair between Russia's elite and the man who rules them on Putin and the oligarchs. And World War II Normandy, an obscure battle training session takes a tragic turn. Uncover the one secret military catastrophe on the secret D-Day disaster. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit curiositystream.com.
Hey, all of Macholas, thank you so much for listening to the Men's Room podcast.
And thanks to our pals at the Advocates Law Firm for being great partners. Yes, even you, creepy Kyle.
Seriously, though, if you'd been injured as a result of somebody else in your car, on your bike, walking across the street, talk to our friends at the Advocates Law Firm and let them help you out.
Yeah, they're the best injury lawyers around, and they want to make sure that you're not taken advantage of. Plus, your first consultation is free.
It's simple. You get injured, the advocates get results. Contact them today at advocateslaw.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
It's Miles and Thrill. Now, let's see what's happening in the real world.
Here we go. An Alabama teacher who claimed it was her right to have sex with 2 students finds a brand new home in jail. Meanwhile, an Austrian man sits down to do his constitutional duty, and now he has quite the tale. 2 Florida men get hammered before hammering each other naked in a park. A cop caught in a prostitution sting whips out his penis and says its name is Clark. An Atlanta woman wakes up to a large African cat in her bed. It is time for your headlines.
Now, it's time to hit the headlines. Here's my cop.
All right, our top story. We go to Atlanta, where a woman was roused by someone unexpected. She was half wakened when she felt the pet cat jump up onto the bed, but there is just one problem. She doesn't have a pet cat. Turns out that her husband left the door open while letting the dog out, and he had inadvertently let a serval, I believe is what you call that, that had gotten loose from its owner.
Okay.
They're pretty big.
Again,
Yeah.
Where were they?
Atlanta.
Right. There's not servals. There's the one walking around ended up in your house.
That's right.
I wouldn't even know what it is, but you look at the picture, like picture your house cat, put it on stilts.
Exactly.
Right? I know they're a little bigger, but the body looks like the size of a cat.
Imagine
but the legs are...
Imagine a corgified cheetah.
Yeah, basically.
It's a scaled down cheetah. It's bigger than your average house cat. They range from like 30 to 50 pounds is what I heard.
Yeah.
And they can stand decently tall.
So what kind of dog did they have that did not at least alert you?
Yeah.
The dog might
Why do you
not
think
want
he was getting out of the
it,
house?
But I feel like at least bark. Like, hey, wake up.
After being startled awake, she was able to scramble out of the room without incident. Authorities are trying to capture the animal. So it's not federally illegal to have them as pets. However, I believe it was illegal in Georgia. So whoever owns it is probably being very quiet right now.
Yeah, you're not going to come from.
No.
Good times.
We found 1,000 pounds of meth. Like, don't say anything.
Right.
Well, quite apparently that cat sleeps in the bed somewhere because that's
right.
That's where it ended up.
That's what I was wondering. You know, I understand it's a jungle cat. I understand that it is a wild cat. It has instincts. However, it's still kind of a domesticated cat, is it not? Now, granted, I'm still not going to trust this doggone thing.
A domesticated cat could rip your ass into shreds.
It could.
This thing is about 30 to 40 pounds bigger.
Right.
So the fact of the matter is the damage is substantial.
I don't know how domesticated it is.
I get it, but I'm just saying that I feel like I have a better chance of getting out of that bedroom unscathed versus if I've got a doggone Bengal tiger that just decided to jump up onto my bed.
Well, yes,
you know what I mean?
I think it... Look, like we said, Sean Kenny had one. So we have a mutual friend. He was like, that thing was terrifying.
Oh, no kidding.
But it's like, dude, you got it as a pet. You knew what it was.
It's like, it would be like under couches, like make it like, not like purring, like...
Jesus Christ. Make no mistake, I don't want to be around a doggone thing, but...
Even domesticated cats, I'm like, are they?
Right.
Are they really?
You would never go over to somone's house if you knew that thing was living there.
No!
I mean, think about how they domesticated cats. All right, we domesticated dogs, and we crossbred all these other things to get the kind of breed that you want. With cats, it's like we had grain, mice showed up, cats showed up. We said, "Cool, the cats are eating the mice, are eating our grain." And that is pretty much the beginning
the babies.
of our relationship. You know, like, yeah, I'll live in your house because you feed me. That's it.
In other news, it's the Ted Smith's worst nightmare. A man in Austria got up at 6 in the morning to see a man about a horse. While he was taking a seat upon the throne, he felt that what he described as a pinch near his genitals. And it was at this moment that he took his first look into the bowl where he found a 5-foot albino reticulated python staring right back at him.
I was going to say, man, and not only that, I don't know what the toilet situation's like in Austria, but here they're mostly white.
Right.
So when you look down into the toilet and there's a white albino, do you really even see it before it bites your ass?
Obviously not.
Yeah.
I mean, you should check.
Kind of blends.
You should.
I like how they say it's a albino reticulate. Who cares?
It's a doggone snake.
There's a snake in your toilet and it bit your junk.
Right.
I mean, like that. It does not matter.
There is a predatory snake in my toilet. I'm not okay with this.
Saying I don't seem that crazy for checking now.
No. It's in Austria. It shouldn't be there. Guess what? There's people all over the doggone place that own snakes.
It's not unfounded, but you seem a little crazy.
I'll take that. An officer was busted during a prostitution sting and came up with an interesting excuse. While detailing stories from a 34-year career on the force during a podcast, an officer recalled the time one of his officers in his unit was busted with an undercover officer. He was taken into custody and attempted to tell arresting officers that it was a big misunderstanding and that he was trying to help the girls out. When asked why he had sat on the bed and exposed his penis, he said that it was merely trying to make him feel more comfortable. He wasn't believed and was arrested.
Yeah, I was hoping that would work so that if anyone else gets pulled up on prostitution, you say that same line of crap.
And the whole reason the sting was done was because the girl who was sleeping with him on the regular, who was a prostitute, she got busted. So she went to the cops, when the cops there, and she's like, well, I have sex with Lieutenant such and such all the time. What's the big deal? Only let me out.
Dave all the
and
time.
Her name was Cinnamon. Cinnamon.
And that is it for your headlines with that. Mike Hawk is out.
Thank you, Mike. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time for the return of Who Sucks Less. The lovely Taryn Daly's up next.
Yes, indeed. It's all true. But in the meantime, we be all about this bitch. So until next time, please do what you do best. And for Aletha's sake, stay beautiful.
The Men's Room has been taped before a live studio audience. Wardrobe and makeup provided by Mantastic Limited. This has been a presentation of the Men's Room Radio Network. Oh, man! A Double Flush production.
$20 million, $19 million, $6 million. These are all awards recovered for clients of Phillips Law Firm. To win big, you have to fight big. And Phillips Law has been fighting the too big to fail insurance industry for decades. Not every case will have a multi-million-dollar outcome, but Phillips Law will fight just as hard to recover the outcome you deserve. If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or on the job, call or click today at 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.